My chocolate baking godmother is joining us today and we're going to be doing a beautiful tart.
We are doing a beautiful tart, thank you. It's a rhubarb and white chocolate tart, in fact, and it is absolutely delicious. It's got a couple of steps, like all good recipes, but it'll be worth the wait.
So I guess the first step would be the base of it, the tart shell. What's in your pastry?
Okay, so we've got 1 1/3 cups of plain flour.
And I've already just measured that out for you.
Into that we can add some butter, and because this is for a sweet tart, we can add a little bit of sugar.
Okay, so all of this sugar
Yes,
just here?
please.
Yep, great.
A couple of tablespoons, and an egg, please,
Right.
Justine.
And this all goes in all together?
Oh, actually, no, we'll do this first.
Okay, I'll get that ready.
I'm getting ahead of myself. What we need to do here is to just process these until the mixture looks like breadcrumbs.
Looking
That
good.
looks pretty good. Okay. Now think about how long that might have taken you with your little fingers rubbing furiously.
All those, or our poor nans when they did it back in the days.
Making it by hand, that's right. And on a hot day, you were really in trouble, to be honest.
In it goes?
Yes, please. That'll bring it all together. And there we go. I think we'll just bring that together outside now.
Beautiful. Pastry in 1 minute.
So just bring those ingredients together and...
And do you rest your pastry?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think that's really probably one of the most important things that you can do with pastry. This is a nice, soft, rich pastry, particularly with the addition of the egg, and it will be soft to work with, but when the pastry's nice and soft, it actually has a much nicer texture once it's cooked. We can give it some time wrapped in plastic wrap in the refrigerator until it firms, and that gives the mixture the opportunity just to sort of settle and the gluten in the flour to relax.
And I always put it just in a disc like that just to make the process a lot easier.
Oh, absolutely,
and
make
faster.
it
just
certainly
faster in the fridge so it cools. All right, in it goes. Right, Trishy, what's next?
Okie dokes, we need to do 2 things. We need to start with the rhubarb and we need to start with the custard.
Okay, so I've just got some things here and some milk.
Okie doke. So the beauty of this custard is that it's really easy to make and it tastes delicious. So it's actually a custard powder custard, all right? So it's kind of cheating, but I think the flavour will speak for itself. So combining together the milk, some milk and some sugar and some custard powder into a saucepan, and we need to just whisk that together so that it's nice and smooth. And you'll notice that the custard, it's a bit more custard powder than you'd normally have per ratio of milk. Well, we're not pouring it over the top. It makes quite a thick base that we'll whip some Philadelphia into later, and the white chocolate as well. I might go on to the rhubarb part of the story.
I've got some vanilla here too. Do you want me to put that in there?
Yes, please.
Yep.
Yes.
So just the
we can
seeds.
Scrape the seeds out of a vanilla pod. That one's a little on the firm side, but do
It's a
your
good little
best.
trick a chef showed me. If it's too hard, just in between your fingers and just rub it so it just sort of
squishes
up a bit
Makes
and
sense.
just sort of and in they go.
And that will give it all that beautiful flavour. Of course, if you've just got vanilla essence, that will be fine too. Okay, so while you keep your eye on that, I've prepared the rhubarb. Just trim the tops and bottoms. You only use the stalks of rhubarb because the leaves actually contain a compound called oxalic acid, which is actually not good to eat. It's actually quite toxic. So stay away from the leaves, but the beautiful red stems, the redder the stems, the better the flavour will be too. I've cut those into 6 centimetre lengths. These are actually going to sit along the length of the tart, so that's why we've made them sort of to that length. And I've just added the rind of an orange. I need to add a little juice because we're just going to kind of cook this off till it's soft. And we've put it into a larger pan so that we get some evaporation of that liquid, so it actually is left with a little bit of a syrupy deal. And a little sugar because, well, I don't know anybody who can eat rhubarb straight.
No.
It's quite delicious, but
It's
it
tart,
really needs a little help because it's quite tart. In fact, the tartness, it used to be classified as a vegetable up until like 1947 or something like that.
There you go.
But because they use it as a fruit.
And actually, speaking of rhubarb, I've actually seen some recipes now where they're introducing rhubarb with savoury, so roast chicken with rhubarb, which I would personally not see. And now seeing that it's nice to see it in a different context. That's getting thick now.
Yeah, it gets really thick.
Keep going. Okay.
Really, really thick. Okay, so I'm just going to stir this until the sugar's had a chance to dissolve, and then we can just let that simmer for around about 10 minutes or so. You'll get that beautiful red syrupy juice, which is lovely. And we want to make sure that we don't cook the rhubarb till it's pulp. We want it to hold its shape, so keep an eye on that too. Once that's nice and thick, then we can actually just decant it into a bowl, and then it can go into the fridge until it's really quite firm and thick, thicker than you'd think.
Yeah, so for me, I'm thinking this is really thick now, but you're saying take it even further than that?
Yeah, so that it's boiling. It'll thicken up once it becomes cold. Okay, we're nearly there.
Yeah. Pastry's come out of the oven.
Correct.
We've allowed it to cool, which is of course very important if we're using custard in there and the cool down rhubarb.
That's right, and we fully cooked that pastry because we're not actually going to cook it again, which I think is important. Okay, so the very thick custard is now wibble-wobbling in there. It's very thick.
Yep.
And we just need to allow that to come together first. We're going to whip that.
The glue for the cream cheese and the chocolate, which we melted.
That's right.
And look at that, it's delicious.
So I might just add some of this cream cheese now.
And just like always when we're using cream cheese in baking like this, we've just brought it to room temperature, so it's just a little bit softer.
So it will just incorporate, we just whip that to incorporate it.
You tell me when you want some more, Trish.
Oh, it's looking good.
Looking very good.
You can put those in.
The rest of it?
Yep.
There it goes. Beautiful.
And then we can pour in the chocolate.
Okay.
And that will make it really beautiful. It really enriches the custard and makes it very special. Yum, that looks great.
That luscious colour. I've got to have a taste now. Just a little one. Do you hate when I do that?
No.
I love that.
I'm glad to hear it. Okay, so this will actually thicken up as it sits in the refrigerator too. Okay. So it will firm up a little more than this.
You're not being tight at all with the cream there.
No, there's plenty of custard. Don't worry about
Plenty of custard.
Don't worry about that. All right, now what we need to do is to put the prepared rhubarb on the top and it's ready to serve.
So did you want me to do that for you?
Sure.
So forks.
Delicious. Well,
better not stuff this up for you.
Oh, that's all right.
It's all right?
It'll be good. Yeah. And we've used rhubarb, but like seriously, you could use all sorts of things. I mean, there's no reason why this pastry and this custard couldn't be done as a, like with a tropical topping with passion fruit and bananas and so forth, or you could easily do the same thing with apples with the orange juice or pears as well.
I've found one more.
Oh, there's one hiding.
Look at that. Beautiful. And all this syrup we're putting over, or we're leaving that just till the end?
I'll give it a little bit of syrup, hey? Just to fill in some of the blanks.
Fill in my mistakes.
Oh, that's fine.
No, look
Yum.
at that. So, big plate here. I'll bring that in and you can definitely do the honours here, Trish.
Thank you.
There's nothing worse than me taking that tart out of that shell and it breaking.
Well,
you will never forgive me if I do that.
We might cry.
We've got it.
Okay, you right?
I've got it under control. All right.
Okay. And just... There we go.
Voila.
Off the base and everything. Wow, just too good. Looks great, doesn't it? What we need to do now is put it into the fridge and then the custard will firm up a little to make it easier to cut. Now, this is a little more involved than some of our other recipes and, well, good things take time. Well, we don't expect you to remember all those steps off by heart, so you'll find the recipe on cadburykitchen.com.au.
Definitely give that one a go.